My name is Ian and welcome to Planted. Now in this video I want to talk about something that to me is very, very important, and that is the fascinating architectural growth that plants can provide for us. And much of this growth comes from plants that are not very common, not very available, but nonetheless very easy to grow. So if you want choice special plants, you've come to the right place. So let me share with you some thoughts about this plant. This is a plant called Colocasia. Colocasia black runner. It's tropical, it won't live outside in the winter, but it has these spectacular leaves. And I just want you to see this leaf structure with sunlight behind it, because it's like marble. It's just a beautiful tapestry. And they require a bit of effort. You can't put them out earlier than late May, maybe mid-May, but they don't do much for the first 6 weeks. But then you're rewarded with these huge leaves. But what makes this special is that this damage you can see here, all these tear marks, that was from hail. A week ago, we had a little short outburst of hail, and it was so large, it came and it tore all of the leaves. It doesn't bother me. To me, it's a sign that these plants are remarkable, and they can accommodate a hailstorm and still live. But you can see that the older ones have got the damage, and here is a spectacular new one, and that's got no damage. So what we have here is, here's our main stem that comes up, and you get this attachment point, and this is the structure that holds the leaf in shape. And I just find that architecture so beautiful. And you can just about see the mottling in here. Anyway, Colocasia, absolutely spectacular plant. Now, I've talked about this plant before. This is Nicotiana Langsdorffi, and the reason I like it is that you get these lime-colored flowers for months. They just keep going. But what makes this plant special is that this is a self-set seedling from plants last year. They're growing on my sidewalk, my pathway, right deep down here, and I didn't plant them, I haven't watered them, I haven't fed them, and yet they grow by themselves. And this is the very act of allowing plants to grow and not getting in their way. Self-set seeds are free plants that you have to do nothing to get. Now you might say, well, how do I encourage self-set seedlings to grow? And this is where it gets tricky, because mulching prevents weeds from growing, but it also prevents the plants that you want from growing. The habitual nature of mulching every spring, and possibly mulching again in the fall, means that you don't get seedlings from your plants able to germinate. And if they can't germinate, they can't grow. The upside is I get lots of free plants. The downside is that you have to know what you're growing. I know what this plant looks like when it's juvenile, so I know what to leave. And that is something that everybody can do with just a little bit of patience and exercising a little bit of observation. So perhaps next year consider not mulching everything and have a look and see what seedlings will grow for you. The next plant I want to feature is this. It's called the ribbon plant. I find it very architectural, and they're segmented. And earlier this year the plant dried out, and each of these segments went brown. And I thought, oh, that's going to look terrible. But what happened is that segment then fell off, and then it regenerated new growth. So the damage of it being dry for a long weekend, you can no longer see it. The plant healed itself. So let's go and take a closer look. Here you can see the ribbon structure, very thin and very flat. This is really good to capture sunlight energy. It's very efficient. And you can just see the mass of foliage there and its ability to capture sunlight. But what this plant does that I find is truly fantastic is it has to support all of this growth. And if you look right here where my thumb is, this is flat. And then this is that same piece where my thumb is now. And it's starting to change its shape. It's going from flat to round. And if we follow that all the way down, right here, this is that same branch. So this is a much better shape for supporting weight than it is flat. There you can see the flat growth, and here is that round growth. And even these side shoots now have started to become round so that they can hold more weight. So the plant knows. The plant knows that thin, weak growth, good for collecting energy, but not good for supporting weight. I think that's fascinating. Next we have the remarkable Edgeworther. This has the rather unique distinction of growing branches in threes. So there is a stem where my finger is right now, and you can clearly see that there's 3 branches coming from it. Not 2, not 5, but 3. And they all do it. And what that means is that when you prune this back quite hard, each tip that gets cut will put out 3 new stems, and it becomes very dense. And what we've got here is the layered effect. We've got gravel down below. This is the white plumbago from ground up. Then we've got the Edgeworther, and then we go on up and we've got the big foliage at the back. So this is that ultimate layering effect, which I think is very desirable. It's not easy to do. You have to get the plants in the right place. But what is really exciting is that little nubby you can see right there and in right there, these are the new flower buds that are forming. This plant is going to be covered next February, March time. It really will be quite spectacular. This is that same plant 6 months ago when it was flowering in January and February, and it'll even flower into early March. The flowers are clusters. If you imagine a spider with lots of legs wearing furry pajamas, that's what these flowers look like. And they're just as attractive from the underside as they are from above. Now here's a big tip with Edgeworther. You want to prune it after it's flowered, which would be sometime in late April. And that means it'll have a chance to set new foliage, set new buds like we just saw, ready for the next year. Do not prune it in the fall. This is quite a sad story and a happy story all at the same time. Years ago I had my greenhouse right here, and I planted inside it a plant called Lapageria. And look at these flowers. This is what I was rewarded with every fall. Then one winter, voles got in there, ate all the roots, and the plants died. And the problem with my collection of plants is that they're not readily available. They're difficult to find. But sure enough, this is Lapageria. I got it last fall, overwintered it, and it was quite small. But if you can see here, we've got 2 flower buds. And I spotted those about a month ago, and they were tiny. And am I happy? You bet, because I'm going to have Lapageria flowers. So this takes a little bit of effort, a little bit of time to find, but I cannot tell you how worthy it is to find it. Lapageria rosea. This plant is called Opuntia, or prickly pear. And I found a lady giving away some plants on Facebook Marketplace because she was clearing out her area that had become a bit congested. So she gave me these clumps, these dark clumps. And then since I've had it the last 4 months, it's put out these clumps. What makes it special is that it's a cacti and it's hardy in our environment. That is, it'll come through the winter all by itself, fingers crossed, if I do nothing. But it is a remarkable plant. The architecture of the plant is designed to thrive in scrubby, dry, hot environments. And on this west-facing wall, lots of sunshine, and it's got ideal growing conditions. But the way it propagates itself is quite remarkable. Now, this would be much more dense. And you can imagine an animal walking by and hitting one of these growths. And in here, there's a layer that is designed to fail. It's designed to snap. This chunk would then fall off, and it might move 3 inches to the side. It might fall down a hill. It might get carried 6 or 7 feet. But it would just lay on the surface, put out roots, and it would grow. That is the plant's mechanism to stay alive and propagate itself. It has yellow flowers. There was a flower on there. But a real oddity, especially here in Connecticut, where you think cacti wouldn't grow. So there you are. There's some plant stories to help you better understand how I observe plants and what I look for and how I grow them. Don't settle for the same old, same old. We don't need more hydrangea. We don't need more arborvitaes, and we don't need more hosta. There's lots of wonderful choice plants out there that are not expensive, that will grow in your environment with a little bit of love and a little bit of care. On that note, thank you so much. Bye for now.